Well, hello there. Welcome once more to Controls Kitchen. And if this is your first time stopping by, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to you. Today I'm making rice and peas with jerk chicken and some sauteed vegetables. This is going to be a dinner for my family, and I'm inviting you to come be in the kitchen with me as we cook this from beginning to end. This is going to be a real life cook with me video. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Just finished cleaning up one scallion. That was a bunch of scallion. And now I am just going to clean my ginger. And I'll add some garlic to this. And this is going to be part of the marinade for my chicken. So I have a video here already, how I made jerk chicken and rice and peas, but it's in my most recent cook with me, more like my meal prep with me video, which is a very lengthy one. And it was suggested to me, by request that I make a separate one, and especially because I made the chicken on my charcoal grill, I am making this a different way where I'm making the chicken in the oven. So I hope it's helpful to you if you don't have a grill or it's too cold where you are right now for you to cook on the outdoors. So I'm cleaning up some garlic. I'm going to be using some of the garlic to cook my rice as well. So I pretty much cleaned up a whole bulb of garlic. And that I'll have some in my saute vegetable as well and for my chicken. So just to save time, I'm going to go ahead and clean it all up right now. So now that I'm done cleaning up my garlic, I'm just going to go ahead and clean an onion as well. And I'll be needing about half of this onion to be part of my jerk marinade. So I'm going to make my marinade of scallions, onion, ginger, and garlic. I'm also going to add in some thyme and this straight from my garden. And I have a garden with me video here now. It's always good to have something in your backyard, in a pot on the yard. If you can help it, just a few herbs and vegetables that you grew yourself and you can enjoy your meal knowing something out of it came from you. So I love to say, eat what you grow, grow what you eat. So kindly check out that video and hopefully it inspires you to plant something. So I'm washing my ingredients now, and after that, I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it. We love garlic, so I'm pretty much adding about like 3/4 of the total amount of the whole bulb that I cleaned in here. That is at least 10 cloves that I had in my hand. And here I have some ginger. I'm just cutting it up a little bit to help make the blending easier. And now I'm just going to add in my scallions. So I'm going to cut half of my onion, and as usual I couldn't cut it evenly, but this is bigger than the half, and I'm going to try and fit as much in here as my little blender cup will handle, and that's pretty much it. It's full enough. So now I'm going to just blend this beautiful gorgeous greens that is going to go in with my chicken. I'm using a whole chicken in this recipe. In my previous recipe, I used chicken leg quarters, and you are free to use whichever kind or part you want. This is organic chicken. it was on sale, and like I always say, if organic is on sale and it's reasonably priced, I try to get that because of course it's a better option. And this, I hope, turns out good and is deserving of the money. So I'm cutting up my chicken. I have a video here that I show you how to cut up a chicken properly if you don't know how to do that, and I hope you check it out. I'll link it for you. So I'm going to cut this all up, and then I'll wash it, set it on a rack to get some of the wetness off before I go ahead and season it. So I'm washing my chicken now. I'm just washing it with water for the first 2 times, trying to get rid of all the clots or anything that is, foreign or undesirable on your meat. Drain it. And for the third wash, I am going to soak it in water, a mixture of water and distilled or white vinegar. So that's the vinegar that I poured in here now, and I let it sit for about 5 minutes. Then I came and drained it, set them on a rack to dry off. So I'm going to go ahead and soak my kidney beans, and I'm going to add in here my spice. So I have ginger, garlic, and thyme in here, and I'm just going to try and let it soak for at least an hour. I also added my scallions in there. And right now I have my chicken, like I told you, it was on a rack. I took it off, put it in a bowl, and we're about to season. So I'm going to start off with some salt. And always be mindful, especially if you're going to be using the Walkerswood jerk marinade. It is a little salted. It's like not a little salted, it's pretty salted already. So be mindful of how much salt you add to your meat, lest you have it overly salted. And I have here some allspice. That is what I just put on the chicken on top of the salt. I have some pimento. That is, I had the whole ones and I ground it. So in my left hand is my ground pimento. I'm just showing you how it looks when it's whole. And I'm going to add some of my Walkerswood jerk marinade, the best jerk marinade. If you can make your own from scratch. And like I said previously in my other video, I haven't been able to perfect my homemade jerk marinade, and I'm not ashamed to say that because it's not my local dish or anything. I'm just learning. I love jerk, and if I'm going to make it, it has to come as close to what will be called authentic, and I can't get it. So the Walkerswood marinade is the best option for me. And now I've added some of my green ingredients. So that is my scallions, onions, and stuff that I blended. I've added in here about 2 to 3 tablespoons in there as well on top of the store-bought marinade. And I'm just gonna go ahead and rub this onto my meat. You want to rub it, make sure every part of your chicken is coated. Apply some underneath the skin. You want this chicken to be juicy, flavorful to the bone, and that is what we are trying to do right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to get it all covered, and then I'll let it sit in the fridge to marinate a little bit. Yes, yes, yes. Because we never ever want to compromise on flavor, I am applying as much as I can underneath the skin of every part of this chicken to make sure it's flavorful to the bone. So I'm going to take off my gloves now, and I am going to apply some cling film to my bowl of chicken, and I'm just going to go let it marinate. It marinated for about 2.5 hours. That is all I could have it go for. And whilst it's marinating, I have my soaked beans here. It has soaked for about an hour and a half. It is shrunken a little bit. It's getting there, but it's not all the way there. So I'm just going to go ahead and start cooking it. And hopefully we get it to the point where it's perfect for us to cook our rice. So I'm adding some pimento. This is pimento. So it's 3 of them here, the whole one, as opposed to the ground that I added previously. I showed you previously for the chicken. And so I'm just gonna let that boil until it is soft, like not mushy but soft enough. If you're a Ghanaian, like if you were making wachi, how you would want it to be before you put your rice in. So anyway, I forgot to add in here my darkening. This is the agent that typically Jamaicans, or I would say probably Caribbean, or even when you want to grill some meat, sometimes you want to put this on for presentation to give it that char grilled, or grilled kind of coloring. So I put in here just a little under 2 teaspoons, and as you can see, it has already brought some improvement on the appearance of the chicken. In the previous video, I didn't use it because I was gonna do it over charcoal and I really didn't think it was necessary. So if you are oven baking, it's always good to have a little bottle of darkening so you can put some on. And so now I have my baking rack ready. My chicken is good and ready to be marinated. And if I didn't mention, I put the darkening on after I took it from the fridge, after it had marinated, because I remembered I didn't add that to it. Okay, we can always make mistakes. So far as it can be fixed, I think that is okay. So I'm putting all my chicken here, lining them, trying to let them have some space so they can bake in the oven. And even then, I'm trying to get the skin to sit on properly. And even if you don't want to eat the skin, it's always better to bake it with the skin on it so your meat is not dry. You want it to be beautiful, juicy, and presentable. And of course, I'm not wasting any of that marinade. I'm trying to pat it all onto my meat to make sure it comes out delicious. And of course, I get my money's worth. I have to add that. So I've preheated my gas oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and now I'm gonna go ahead and bake this chicken in that oven, and it's gonna end up baking for at least a total of an hour and 20 minutes, or like an hour and a half. I'm just throwing on some garlic and a little bit more of thyme just for more flavor. Hopefully as it cooks it will add some more flavor. And now it goes into the oven to get baked. Meanwhile, our beans has cooked for almost 2 hours. So almost the whole time the chicken was marinating and getting in the oven, the beans was cooking. And I cooked it, I should have told you, I cooked it with a total of 7 cups of water. I started off with 5 cups to 2 cups of beans, and as it cooked and kept soaking up the water, I added some more. So in total I cooked the 2 cups of beans, or 1 pound pack of beans, with 7 cups of water. And this is all the water that is left at this point, and the beans at this point is perfect for your rice to cook. And this is pretty much how it would look if you bought a can of kidney beans from the store, but we're doing this totally from scratch. And if you could see, I just removed the stalks of the thyme because it's not doing any good at this point, and it's just going to be sticking in your rice if you don't remove it at this point. So I have here some coconut cream, and in here I added half of the can of cream. Or you could also use a whole can of coconut milk, like I did in the previous video. Now I'll go ahead and season this with some salt. And of course, it's always going to be according to your taste. So I'm adding about a teaspoon and a half in here. So this creamy deliciousness. It tastes so good. It smells amazing, amazing. By now you know how much I love coconut. Anything with coconut, sign me up. So, and that is why I like these Caribbean flavors. I like Haitian rice, black rice, because it has coconut milk as well. Just delicious. Anyway, I'm washing my rice now. I have here 3 cups of rice, And as you know, I will list everything for you in the description box. So it's 3 cups of rice. I'm trying to give it a thorough wash. And then that goes in with that milky goodness for us to get our rice and peas or rice and beans. And this, if you're Ghanaian, you know this looks, it's going to end up pretty much like our wache, it's red beans, so it's going to color it a little bit. It's just like how we have our rice and peas, which we Ghanaians, if you're not Ghanaian, we call wache. Just delicious, delicious. So I'm going to strain the rice now because I really want my rice to cook to perfection. I'm not trying to compromise on my measurements, and I'm trying to make it easier for you to follow the recipe as well. So I'm just trying to make sure all the water drains from it so you know about how much water, to add to it. So it's pretty much drained all my liquid from the rice now, and I added it in here to my mixture, beans, the seasonings, the milk, even the ginger. I'm keeping the ginger in till it cooks through because I like the flavor it brings. But then, of course, I'm picking up all the little stalks that I can find from the thyme. Just throw them out. And this, I can tell already, this is going to be just perfect, just delicious. Huh. I'm adding in here now, this is a cup of water, just a cup of water I added, just to make sure I bring up a little bit more moisture to the rice, that it cooks to perfection. So it was about maybe a cup and a half of water still sitting on the beans. I added the cream and then half a cup of water. I also threw in 2 peppers. These are from my garden as well, and they have the stalk on, and it's supposed to just bring some fragrance and a little bit of heat, not too much heat, but typically just fragrance to your rice. So whilst the rice cooks, I'm going to go ahead and make my vegetables. So I have my pan sitting on high heat because this is more like a stir fry. I'm going to saute my veggies, and I added into it some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, maybe a tablespoon pretty much. And now I've added some minced garlic, about 3 cloves of garlic, not really minced, chopped. I like my garlic to be this big because we like to eat our garlic, but if you prefer to mince it, you could go ahead and mince it. And this, I'm just going to let it cook a little bit just to give some fragrance to my oil. And now I have here my vegetables, which I had to cut on the side. I have some carrots, and always in making your stir fries or sautés, you want the harder ingredients to go in first. So I have my carrots in here going right on top of the oil and garlic, and I'm just going to go ahead and stir it, let it cook for about maybe 1 full minute before I add my other ingredients to it. I love stir fries, like with any kind of vegetables. I've been doing a lot more of cabbage, this kind of combination, but I love a mixture of vegetables in here, just to have that pop of color, because you want to eat all the colors. It's good for you. It also makes your food just so beautiful and presentable. Yes, yes. As always, we eat first with our eyes. You want the delicious food, but the beautiful colors as well. So I let that saute for about another minute, full minute, and now I'm going to season it with some peppercorns or black pepper. This is straight from the grinder, so I'm just grinding in about maybe half a teaspoon in here. And now I'm adding some salt. Yes, and it's always going to be according to your taste. Even though I have to add my cabbage later, I have come to find out it's a lot better to season at this point, where these other vegetables have started cooking, so they are able to absorb as much of the salt and the pepper to be as flavorful as you want everything to be. Trust me, when the cabbage comes in, it's just going to be perfect. Perfect. Anyway, as of course, in doing things like this, you have to multitask, and this is a real cook with me. So in real life, this is what I'm doing. I turned my heat low on my veggies so I could come check on my rice, because you don't want to burn your rice. either. And at this point, it had cooked for about 20 minutes because it was just on medium heat, just trying to take its sweet time to cook. And I'm just stirring it. Just look at how beautiful, gorgeous this looks. And you have to be here to smell it. It smells so, so good. So good. So good. I hope you try this. So I'm going to cover this and let it cook for about another 10 to 15 minutes just for the heat. And it's going to be on the lowest setting for the heat, to just help the moist heat to cook the rice through. And now I have my cabbage in here. And as you can see, I made big chunks of cabbage. That is how I like my stir fry. And I'm going to be adding them in bits until I get everything mixed up in here and just let it cook. So this is about half of the cabbage. It was a whole big cabbage, one whole cabbage that I cut up, and we are going to have some as leftovers. So I always tell you in my meal prep videos, when I tell you, even when I make individual recipes like this is also still going to be a part of a meal prep. So we are going to eat some, and whatever is left, I'm going to package in the fridge for us to have as leftovers for work lunches. This is pretty much what we had for most of the week. This is what I ate for lunch, and that was very good. So in doing that, I never overcook my vegetables. I just let it cook through a little bit, because every time we take a portion of food out, stick it in the microwave to warm it, we are cooking our vegetables some more. And like I always say, and probably will always say until you just say control, we've had it, we know it. I want my veggies to have some texture. I don't want to overcook it. I want some nutrients in there. So I'm just going to cover this, let it cook through for about 2 minutes, and that is all it needs, just for the cabbage not to be too much on the raw side, just a little bit cooked so it's not so crispy anymore. And at this point, it's done. My saute is really done. You taste it to make sure your salt is okay, and that is it. So I finished with this and went ahead to make some fried plantains, and I made it almost like the Ghanaian way, like kelewele. So I cut up my plantains and seasoned it with some salt, pepper, ginger, and then I fried it. And I'm going to link my kelewele recipe here so you can check that out. And here it is. So our chicken cooked here, and it had cooked for about 50 minutes. So 50 minutes later, I brought it out of the oven and then just flipped them over so the other side would get a chance to cook. Just so tender at this point, just cooked so to perfection. It smells so good. It smells amazing. Jerk. And so I have everything flipped over now, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to get some of the juices on the chicken to help it, to help moisten up that side of it so it's not going to be dry. And then I'll stick it back in the oven. This time for about 20 minutes, just so you get it to cook on that side, darken, because it's pretty much cooked through already. And that'll be it. And whilst that cooked, the extra 20 minutes, I check on my rice. It is cooked to perfection. Just look at this. Just look at that. Yeah. And I really did go in with the spoon that I used for the veggies. Hey, without rinsing it, I didn't even see it. Busy. And look, delicious. It smells so good. This rice is cooked to perfection. Perfection. And I'm just going to go ahead and cover it and wait for the next few minutes for the chicken to be ready, and we can have some good, good Caribbean trip, or maybe Jamaican trip at the table. And just look at that. Look at that chicken. Perfectly cooked and ready to go to the table. Uh-huh. And look at how beautiful this rice turned out to be. Just amazing. Amazing. Veggies, check. The table is all set. We did an amazing job. We cooked, we slaved all day to bring this spread of deliciousness to the table, and we have every right to enjoy it. I hope this makes you want to try this. I hope you really give this a try. You will love it. I know you will. You really will. And let me add in some plantains. Yes. And this is ginger and mint juice, and I hope you try it. It's so good. Now let me show you how well this chicken turned out. Just look at that. Beautiful. Cooked to perfection. Perfection. Just look at that. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe and share the videos. And until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy.